Okay, so I just saw the final episode of Noah Hawley's Alien Earth. This has probably been one of the most original entries into the Alien franchise. Like, they gave us so much lore and expanded the mythos of the show. Everything from the hybrids to the cyborgs, adding it now to androids. We have different aliens. Like, the series was such a breath of fresh air, and it definitely it was like the big bang to the Alien franchise. It expanded like in so many different areas. It gave us new companies, Boy Cavalier. And it's not just Weyland Yutani that's been, fighting for these species for a while. Looks like they've all been fighting each other. Went into so many different spaces, and it just blew the whole Alien franchise open. And now we just have to wait because, spoiler alert, for season 1, it ended in a cliffhanger. So we're just crossing our fingers now that we get season 2. Because it was so ballsy not to give us a conclusion, right? Not to close up some of those storylines and leave them hanging. Even though I just really, really love the cast, I really love the writing, and I'm glad that we have all the pieces still on the board. Even though from a story perspective, I can see how it would have been more dramatic to lose some pieces, but we have all the pieces on the board. And even let's say we don't get season 2, which I think would be crazy because there's so much more to explore, like with the hybrids. Spoiler alert, but it's kind of showing now that it's possible that the hybrids were not a transfer of consciousness, but more a copy. Like I think that's what the whole, them seeing their graves, the flowers on the grave, and Wendy saying, you put 6 children in the ground, or is it 7 of them? So I think it's leaning. It didn't outright explain it to us, but I think the show is basically saying that it's possible that this is just basically a copy, right? They're copying human consciousness. I think that's one of the big things. Like, the show's basically left that out there. Or maybe the whole process doesn't really transfer human consciousness. Maybe that's something that Boy Cavalier hasn't really cracked, and that he's selling this to these wealthy people. Because remember, he called them floor models, basically the prototypes, right? The beta models. And maybe they don't have the whole transitioning of consciousness. This is actually what we're talking about in Altered Carbon, which is another awesome sci-fi show on Netflix. You should definitely check it out. They transfer the consciousness from one body to another. And that's what I thought we were seeing here. We were seeing conscious transfer from the body of the children to these new synthetic bodies, the hybrids, right? And there were times when even the scientists, the ones that are helping the children, kind of alluded to the fact that they weren't 100% sure, did we really transfer the consciousness? This is just a copy. And the children, being a copy, are not really aware of it, like they don't know they're a copy. That could be something that could be explored in season 2, which I think it's really interesting, the whole idea of human consciousness. Because if you know anything about atoms, like, we're talking about different atoms, right? So how does what's the technical scientific way to explain away, how do they actually get the consciousness out of the body into the androids? And the hybrids, the Lost Boys are walking around thinking they're them, but they might just be a copy. It's possible because, again, Boy Cavalier is nefarious. He was willing to crash a whole ship just to get a hold of these specimens, even replacing his own father with a synthetic, as we learned in the last episode. So something else that I spoke about before, as we learned in Alien Romulus, it was very interesting that we learned that as part of the alien life cycle, after the chest burster runs away, it basically creates like this thing on the wall, this sticky cocoon thing. And from the sticky cocoon thing is supposedly where the alien, the full xenomorph pops out with 4 legs. But here on the show, we saw a chest burster with no legs then emerge with 4 legs, and we didn't see that cocoon structure. So I don't know what the inconsistency in the life cycle is between Alien Romulus and Alien Earth. Or does it go from chest burster to 4-legged, xenomorph, without a cocoon? Or was that cocoon structure something that it just does in space? Like, I hope somebody explains it away, because now we have a little bit of inconsistency. What happens between the chest burster stage when the xenomorph doesn't have 4 legs, so when it does have 4 legs? Because in Alien Romulus, they gave us the cocoon. So now I'm wondering what the cocoon was for. If you know, put it in the comments. Yeah, but it's so interesting, this show. And I just love the exploration of consciousness with the hybrids. Then you have the full android, Curse. I have a horrible problem pronouncing names. And then we have the whole question about, androids and hybrids and where do they place each other? And the fact that the show is in the past and Alien hasn't even happened, right? This show actually predates Alien on the Alien timeline. So I think it just leaves it open for future, like, filmmakers and even other shows, like, to build on this. And we might have hybrids, and we might have the TSLs, the eyeball creature. And any of these aliens can show up, I think, on other movies or other properties now. And I think that'd be awesome. So Alien Earth was just awesome as a whole. I really enjoyed it. I'm really hoping it gets renewed for season 2 because I don't think we've had such exciting and interesting like sci-fi writing in a while on TV, especially with Alien. Like you got to give it's really ballsy. Like not just to like, take the alien and take it out of space, bring it to Earth, but like to also expand it in so many different directions at the same time. So it's a big swing, and I appreciate big swings, even when everything doesn't like, work out perfectly. And I know some people online are not happy with the direction of the show, but you got to admit, like Noah Hawley and company, they taking some really big creative swings. You got to really appreciate that. I really love it when somebody jumps in the driver's seat and they know the franchise and they respect the lore, they respect the canon, and they're ballsy enough to take it a new direction, right? And add to the canon. So big ups to that. So definitely check out Alien Earth if you haven't. I've definitely spoiled some stuff about it in this video, but it's definitely worth checking out. And I really hope we get season 2. But what do you guys think about Alien Earth season 1? Put in the comments. What did you think about the whole alien life cycle? Did that change it for you? Do you think the children are copies or they actually are, transition from human bodies to hybrids? Put in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on that. As always, that's the Tone Show. Tone Show. More rants like this.